Thank you very much for that very warm welcome. How things have changed.
Eine Sekunde bitte.
Just a second, Mr.
Kolleginnen und Kollegen, eine große Qualität der Demokratie
One
ist,
major quality of democracy is that you listen
deren Meinung man nicht.
to those, even if you don't share their opinion.
Well, thank you, Mr. Schulz. Isn't it funny? You know, when I came here 17 years ago, and I said that I wanted to lead a campaign to get Britain to leave the European Union, you all laughed at me. Well, I have to say, you're not laughing now, are you? And the reason you're so upset, the reason you're so angry, has been perfectly clear from all the angry exchanges this morning. You, as a political project, are in denial. You're in denial that your currency is failing. You're in denial. Well, just look at the Mediterranean. No. As a policy to impose poverty on Greece and the rest of the Mediterranean, you've done very well. And you're in denial over Mrs. Merkel's call last year for as many people as possible to cross the Mediterranean into the European Union has led to massive divisions between countries and within countries. But the biggest problem you've got, and the main reason the United Kingdom voted the way that it did, is you have, by stealth, by deception, without ever telling the truth to the British or the rest of the peoples of Europe, you have imposed upon them a political union. You've imposed upon them a political union. And when the people in 2005 in the Netherlands and France voted against that political union, when they rejected the Constitution, you simply ignored them and brought the Lisbon Treaty in through the back door. What happened last Thursday was a remarkable result. It was indeed a seismic result, not just for British politics, for European politics, but perhaps even for global politics too, because what the little people did, what the ordinary people did, what the people who have been oppressed over the last few years and seen their living standards go down, they rejected the multinationals, they rejected the merchant banks, they rejected big politics, and they said, actually, we want our country back, we want our fishing waters back, we want our borders back, we want to be an independent, self-governing, normal nation, and that is what we have done, and that is what must happen. And in doing so, we now offer a beacon of hope to Democrats across the rest of the European continent. I'll make one prediction this morning. The United Kingdom will not be the last member state to leave the European Union. So the question is, what do we do next? Now, it is up to the British government to invoke Article 50. And I have to say that I don't think we should spend too long in doing it. I totally agree, Mr. Juncker, that the British people have voted. We need to make sure that it happens. But what I would like to see is a grown-up and sensible attitude to how we negotiate a different relationship. Now I know that virtually none of you have ever done a proper job in your lives, or worked in business, or worked in trade, or indeed ever created a job. But listen, just listen.
Herr Farage, Augenblick.
Just a second.
Liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen,
Ladies and gentlemen, I do understand that you're getting emotional, but you're acting like UKIP normally acts in this chamber, so please, don't imitate them. Mr. Farage, however, I would say one thing to you. The fact that you're claiming nobody has done a decent job in their life, you can't really say that. I'm sorry.
No, you're quite right, Mr. Schulz. UKIP used to protest against the establishment, and now the establishment protests against UKIP. So something has happened here. Let us listen to some simple, pragmatic economics. We between us, between your countries and my country, we do an enormous amount of business in goods and services. That trade is mutually beneficial to both of us. That trade matters. If you were to decide to cut off your noses, to spite your faces, and to reject any idea of a sensible trade deal, the consequences would be far worse for you than it would be for us. And even no deal is better for the United Kingdom than the current rotten deal that we've got. But if we were to move to a position where tariffs were reintroduced on products like motor cars, then hundreds of thousands of German workers would risk losing their jobs. So why don't we just be pragmatic, sensible, grown up, realistic, and let's cut between us a sensible tariff-free deal, and thereafter recognise that the United Kingdom will be your friend, that we will trade with you, we will cooperate with you, we will be your best friends in the world. But do that, do it sensibly, and allow us to go off and pursue our global ambitions and future. Thank you.
Nigel Farage loves controversy, he loves being the centre of the media attention, he loves the headlines. And, you know, today he pretty much, it seemed to me, sort of just rubbed the noses of the rest of Europe in our referendum result. But hang on, I think we can just maybe catch Marine Le Pen. I think she's maybe getting to her feet. Let's just have a look.
Look how beautiful history is when liberty succeeds. The will of the people can body things through. The UK is leaving after the result of the referendum. This is perhaps the most important historic event in the continent since the fall of the Berlin Wall. It's a signal of liberty, of freedom sent out to the entire world. It's a cry of love of a people for their country. The British have chosen a route which it was thought was closed for all time, and you were some of those who believed it was closed. Those who said, it's all irreversible, the European Union is irreversible, the British people have told you where to get off. This is a signal victory for democracy. It's a slap in the face to the European system, which was increasingly based on fear, on blackmail, and on lies. Now, we have seen examples in this chamber, threats of apocalypse, the stock exchange. Well, the British, they saw through that, and they decided in their sovereignty, leaving you to your bitterness and your feigned indignation. For decades, the European Union has been built on the back of ordinary people. France and the Netherlands with their vote. The Irish having to vote again after voting no to Lisbon. The Greeks have been forced to give up their referendum and accept more austerity, and that was forced down their throats. Perpetual poverty was their fate. The European Union the UK has committed the heresy by breaking the chains, linking them to the European Union, and raised as a religion by its propagandists and apologists. Now, if you've been blind for decades by implementing absurd policies which have brought disindustrialization, mass unemployment, and mass immigration, then it's difficult to come back down to reality with a bump and see what is actually happening. The propagandists for the European Union on the left or in the centre or to the right, put away those sulky faces, put away those angry looks, and rejoice in the great emancipation of peoples. This is the end to their contribution to the European Union. Economic patriotism, that's a glowing future for the United Kingdom, and that should motivate all of us to build a better future. I can already hear urban myths and false truths. being said in order to discourage or deter others from going down the same path or wishing to bury Brexit by pushing it off to the Greek calends. That is not a democratic method. The European Union has decided, and we must respect their will in that period. And the way ahead is simple. Either you persevere with your expensive bureaucratic Europe, with the crazy schemes of those who want even more Europe at a time when ordinary people want less. And if you do go down that path, I can guarantee that this totalitarian organisation will collapse. We have to look for cooperation between free peoples and sovereign nations. From my own country of France, I commit to pursuing the path of liberty, which is the only way to real grandeur, live free peoples, live free United Kingdom, and vive la France. Thank you.